Hello and welcome to the 62nd episode of Rambling Weekly. Wow, what? Not a little off. Anyways, maybe because I just woke up. Yeah, we're going to talk about decaying thoughts, as the title says, and it'll make more sense in the topic. But we're going to take a break, and then we're going to get into it. So stick around. Welcome back. There is the pause menu theme from GoldenEye. It's the remake version done by Brandon Weeb. Weib. I think it's a Weeb. W-I-E-B. W-I-E-B-E. Yeah. Good stuff. I still haven't played all the way through after it got re-released on the Switch. It was one of those weird things that there was a cool little fervor for it for all of like 10 seconds. And then once it came out, I was like, okay, cool. The end. Which I think goes to show two separate things. One, it's a remake, but there are still remakes that are getting some love. Like, Metroid Prime came out, and then now this Resident Evil 4 one. Resident Evil 4 one seems to, are you serious? It is 6:30 in the morning. Why are you going off, phone? Whatever. Okay. I can never escape it. Gracious. But I mean, there's a bit more of a fervor and staying power for Resident Evil 4, it seems. But, I mean, it is what it is. Oh, look, you can kind of see what's going on the computer screen through my glasses. Ain't that special? But, I don't know. I think it also highlights just how different things are from when that game came out, which was what, 98, I think? 97? I think it was 98. One of the two. If I'm wrong, well, somebody will correct me. Who knows? I'm wearing a PlayStation shirt anyways, so. But yeah, from then to now, and I know this is something that's come up plenty of other times before about how thing comes out and then it's on to the next thing. Plus, it is a remake. This is just a re-release of something, so it's more of like, oh, you have access to it. So, just coffee and milk. That's it. No drinking. I'm not imbibing in anything more toxic. I don't know. Depends on what you mean by toxic. Anyways, how's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm doing all right. Pretty tired, pretty tuckered out. I know I've kind of mentioned it before, but now I'm doing like delivery work. It's kind of nice because it gives me a different kind of appreciation for stuff, because maybe I am finally starting to make the same steps as one of my favorite childhood authors, of Brian Jakes with Redwall, because he used to deliver milk, and he delivered milk to a school of the blind, and that's kind of where he really set about writing descriptions on stuff for the Redwall series. So yeah, maybe it would be nice. But yeah. So the thing is that I've been, let's see, I worked about 10 and a half hours yesterday, and then a couple days before that I worked like 12 and a half. So lot more. Like, those 2 days would have been what I was working in a week. Now it's just in 2 days plus all the other days, which, is fine. It's just reacclimating to that. So it's like, oh, okay. Is this where I start to feel old and just kind of fall apart? I'll find out real soon. So, yeah, but so I've been super into, with having to work and stuff. I haven't really done too much. Got to play pool the other night, which, because I hadn't played for a while, and then I've played a couple times since, and the old skills coming back. Like, I joke, but I don't joke, in that, I'm not quite a shark, but I'm a fish with teeth. Like, I'm good, and then there's sometimes I'm just like, it just peters out, and it's just like, okay, whatever. Not enough consistency to be the shark, but when I'm hitting shots, it gets kind of stupid. Where I'm like, oh, and I'm not like really into the slop where it's just like, hit it and it goes in, cool. And I'm usually kind of like, oh, I'm gonna hit the 2 into the 7 and it's gonna go in, that kind of nerdy stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm allowed to have nerdy hobbies. Leave me alone. Says the man wearing a PlayStation shirt and a Kirby hat. Let's see, what else have I been doing recently? Oh, I guess before getting more into that, sorry for last week. I was so, part of that's because of the whole working thing and adjusting to it. This week, it was because of the extra work, and then I streamed on Thursday, thinking I could stream and put out, like, record the thing, and I was like, I can't do this. It took an extra little bit of time to get back on Thursday. Just because I had to do some extra errands and running around, and then I was like, well, I already said I was going to stream, so I'm going to stick to it. And then I thought I was closer to the end. Still haven't beaten Ninja Gaiden Sigma. Still haven't. That annoys me. Because I'm like right at the end too. So annoying. But yeah, what else has been going on? Unfortunately, I haven't edited as much recently that I'd like, so I've kind of petered out a bit on that. I've still got 3 months before my birthday goal and everything to get it situated. So, I just need to keep buckled down and not completely fall off the wagon and just kind of get back to it. I know I have at the end of, I'm recording this on April 1st. There are no April Fool's jokes or anything like that. I'm not an April Fool's kind of guy. I'm already enough of a fool and an idiot. Like, I don't need a day to be like, hey, I'm going to be even more of an idiot. Like, that's, I'm good. So, but yeah, no, I haven't gotten as much into that as I'd like. So, got that. I haven't really been playing much. I've dabbled in the last spell. Let's see, what else have I? Because the last spell has been properly situated, so now it's the actual thing. Played a little bit of that. Not so much on the Caves of Cud. I got kind of miffed. I still cannot get through Bethesda Susa, which is kind of like a mid thing that I just can't. My brain's just like, oh no, you were too dumb for this. So, and I don't think I've yeah, there's not really anything else on here. Oh, I don't know. I might have mentioned it. I played a little bit more. I jumped back into Loop Hero. I hadn't played it in forever, but I decided to play it a little bit. I like the game. It's just I never finished it, and it's another one of those that's like the concept's neat and stuff, but then once it comes out and everybody's like, okay, and they just kind of go on to their next thing. There's not enough of an impression to keep people to it, sort of thing, I guess, unfortunately. Trying to think, is there anything else really? Not really on that front. took some pictures. I might try to put them. I'd say follow it on Instagram. Writing of the Spirit. Because I put them on Instagram over there. Sometimes I put them on Twitter, but yeah, you can find me on there. I don't put. It was the thing I started a little bit during when COVID craziness was started up, and then I kind of fell out of doing that for like 2 years, and then I was like, I could get back into doing that. It also helps train me in a little bit of a way. A lot of people seem to comment and say that I can take interesting or nice pictures. I don't know. I'm just like, this looks neat. Click, kind of thing. So I gotta get a better camera. My old phone, because this newer phone that I have is just kind of like it's a whatever kind of thing. The one that I had before it broke had a better camera than the one I have now, but I'm gonna actually get a proper camera, and it kind of ties into the thing I want to do of doing like the going around and a little travel, not necessarily vlog sort of thing, but like, here is neat random town kind of thing. I don't know. I'm weird like that. So, yeah, that's it. I don't have anything else. So I'm gonna take a break and then get into the topic at hand. So enjoy the music and see you on the other side. Welcome back. That their tune is Train. I like the little train sound added there at the beginning. Really helps accent that. Kind of an interesting. Not kind of an interesting. It's an interesting stage because it's just that straightforward. Hey, it's in the train. I mean, I know that's not like a completely wild concept for first-person shooters and stuff like that, but for one of the first ones that I played, that one always like sticks out or stuck out. Anyways, yeah, the topic. I think I only just strictly put the title on my little topics file sort of thing called Decaying Thoughts. This kind of came up in a conversation the other day that I was having about how I like music and there's certain bands and stuff I do like and all that sort of fun jazz. I cannot be arsed to remember lyrics at all. This has to do with my hearing. I cannot for the life of me, unless they like adjust the tracks to where the vocals are really like prominent versus everything else. And even then it's kind of hard for me to hear the words. Excuse me, to hear the words and stuff like that. So it ends up more so being another instrument in a way. So it's more of just how it sounds. Similarly with just talking and stuff in general, so I've got to concentrate. It is not an easy task. If it's just your baseline for just hearing to and whatnot to talk to somebody, Probably, I'm gonna guess it takes a little bit more effort. I'm not entirely certain how much more effort, but I have to concentrate a little bit more and be like, oh, uh, in a way, it helps, being a good listener in that way, because it's like, oh, well, I have to already concentrate to hear it, so it's going to stick in my head a little bit easier. Not always, but, um, yeah, so, um, that is where, because this person, they really like music, they like lyrics. I know a lot of people, when it comes to songs that they like, the lyrics for stuff really hits them here personally. That does not happen to me. Like, I don't, there are not any songs, and I'm not saying like this is, oh, special Taylor or anything like that. Like I know a few other people who are just like, it's music. It's not the be all end all. That's kind of how I feel about it too. Is that it's not the, it's nice, but much like anything, it's very fleeting. And I think it also, I think for me, it's also a tool. I liked to use it as a tool. I don't even really, when I write now, I don't even use it to help imbue me with, like, to get into a mood if I'm wanting to write something. I used to do that, but I don't do that now. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's kind of how it is. I know I had to always listen to instrumental stuff before, because stuff with lyrics, even though I couldn't hear it, I would still, my brain would want to like try to make sure, like try to catch it. And so, yeah, no, 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 nope, nope, nope. Where am I going with all of this is that, like, the lyric thing in particular, because I went to a place that had like an open mic thing going on and stuff. And one of my friends was like, hey, you should sing something. I'm like, I can't. Like, I cannot think of anything. And they're like, what? And it's not something in me. Like, I'm very, when it comes to that sort of thing, in the moment. But if it's something I haven't, like, because if you ask me what's my favorite song, I don't have anything. I can't be like, oh yeah. I don't have a favorite song. I don't have a, I don't have a. I mean, this is kind of where the whole Rambling Weekly thing sort of comes in as well. It's like I'll have thoughts on things, but then after a while, it just. I mean, with anything, right? If you don't think about it, it just kind of. And that's like even with music, like I like the Eve Six's what is that? The driving song. I think, you know, like I really like that song, but I cannot I cannot give you the lines for any of them, that song at all right now. Like, it doesn't come to my mind. Like, it is blocked until the song is on, and then like I'm usually kind of like a split second behind, because it's like, oh, that's what the word is. I totally forgot. Like, I don't know if this is a early sign of some sort of mental degeneration that I am going to have to face if I make it to the ripe, tender age of 50-ish. But that is my cross to bear. I was, but yeah, like I just don't have, for whatever reason, when it comes to that, quotes, the same sort of thing. Like, I like quotes. I really like quotes, and I'll put them in random places. I've got some on pieces of paper that's like right by my mirror in the bathroom, of ways to just sort of I don't know, not incentivize me, not to motivate. I guess in a way to motivate me, more sort of remind me, so I don't lose myself in a way, or like get like or agitated. It's on the mirror because it's one of the first things you see. Yeah, that's also something you may see when right before heading out the door, sort of thing. But let's see. I have to think because this is the problem. Like, my thing is that because of how I grew up, partially because of the hearing thing, but also because I was picked on as a kid because I had to wear a little bubble thing on my head for the different surgeries that I had for it. Is that a lot of kids are very mean, very so. Basically, my way to galvanize myself from that sort of harm was to just treat everything said as just something said. And in that, what ended up happening and what has happened is that to me, words don't really mean anything. I know that sounds really weird. That is probably a really weird thing for somebody who writes or likes writing, but I find words to be and this comes up in the first book that I wrote a lot here, like not all the time, but here and there. Words are a way to accent the actions that we do. It is much more important our actions, though that reveals the person that we are versus words. So reinforcing and then kind of doubly and then I don't know. Like when it comes to lyrics for music and stuff, they're just words. So like I may think of like the it's not even a remake. What is the proper word for it? The version of Hurt that Johnny Cash does. I'm aware of it, and I like that song, and it's really well done. And I know how it makes me feel, but I can't, outside of like clips and phrases, like Empire of Dirt. Like I remember that line, but like I can't. My brain just does not. It is not something that keeps in my head because it's just not a. I guess there's a confluence of things. Those two things, like they're just words and they're expressive, I guess, but it also doesn't make me feel anything in that regard because it's maybe I'm a psychopath. I don't know. No, more of that there's that degree of separation. Like this is somebody else entirely, and kind of similarly with I don't know. I get that. I guess the one thing I can think of is the whole Aurelius meditations and being kind of struck by those because it's a diary that, for all we know, was not really intended for public consumption. And it's also, I guess, interesting to hear some of similar mindsets kind of. It's a neat thing, I guess, in that regard, but it's also like, oh, that's kind of neat and interesting to have that for somebody who's thousands of years apart. That it kind of makes that bridge or connection that, despite technological advances, that, there is the human element still there. Possibly petering out at this point, but still there. But they, yeah, but it's just not. It doesn't. Like it just doesn't stick into my head because of kind of those things of the. Because if I had let it as a kid, then and so I didn't develop the good habit of I should retain this. I should retain this. I should retain this, because it was nothing more than just a bunch of spiteful, hateful stuff. And so I just concentrated on the act of, what people did as a way of really kind of, and I get it, it's not necessarily a very healthy way to look at it because then it turns me very jaded. It turns me very, very skeptical of what a lot of people will say on something. for better and for worse, if somebody says, "Hey, you know, I'll get back to you," I don't even. I'll remember the whole "I'll get back to you," but I don't have any faith in it, which is not a healthy way to look at it. It's really, really not. But I guess it keeps me from being disappointed when it doesn't happen. And then if it does happen, it's a little bit more like, "Oh, okay, they did get back to me." Um, I mean, I shouldn't even have that. But unfortunately, that's just a shortcoming that I have. That I don't think I'll ever find a way to fully break that. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll eventually just kind of get to that point where it's. But yeah, like so. Yeah, I have some quotes and stuff. Like that's another thing. Quotes. I don't. Sushi and I have talked about this before because we really love the original Conan the Barbarian movie. Sushi could probably, I could call him. Maybe not right now. It's it's still early in the morning, but I could give him a call and he could probably recite the movie from start to finish with 98% accuracy. We'll say I won't give him 100% just because he might stumble on a thing here or two. He's pretty good about that. I'm pretty awful at that. I'm on the other end. I might be able to give you 2% accuracy, and not even the 2% that Sushi misses, but just spot here. It just doesn't stick in my head. It's more of what went on, as well as just kind of the concepts and stuff that I'm more interested in, that lodges in my head that I remember. Yeah, and with those quotes, I'm trying to think. So I have one on there that I have on like my Twitter. It's like, "Be better than you were yesterday," and then I changed that because it. Are you serious, phone? Stop. I changed that partially because it's less like I like the idea, but I've kind of changed it because it's more of I guess because it's comparing two things, and it's comparing a past versus a present / semi-future sort of thing. And instead of doing that, because it could be, "Oh well, the past was better," or, "Oh well, the past was crappy, but today is at least slightly better." So instead of doing that, just be better today. Don't even nothing else. Just be better today. So that's one that I have. Another one that I have is God helps those who helps themselves, kind of thing. Like it's I really like the idea of, and this kind of goes back to you see with just a lot of, I think we talk around it a lot when it comes to people who contend with depression or maybe anxieties and stuff like that, where we want to try to be supportive and helpful, and there's what the phrase, "You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink." Sort of the same sort of concept, right? Sort of the same sort of concept. You gotta. It is up to the person to do the thing. And as much as we may want to help and be supportive and stuff, like it's got to come from them. So that's one there. What else do I have on there? See, then this is the thing. Like I cannot remember all the things that I have on there. Another one I know I have. Oh, I remembered them now. Take the chance, or take the risk, or lose the chance. Another one of those action things versus active versus inactive. And then the other one is, be the person you intend to be, not the person you're comfortable becoming. So, but that's the thing. Look how much struggle I have just to remember things that are written down there. Like I said, I don't know if it is some sort of like. I'm hoping not, obviously, but I do wonder if it isn't some sort of concerning slow step towards that. My grandfather got Alzheimer's when he was really young. I hope I haven't taken enough beats to the noggin to set me down that path. But sometimes that's the way that the revolver chamber spins, and so it's either it could be something like that, but as well, I think of this is what I did as a child to combat people who would say things. Is that I would just kind of let it be like a water off a duck's ass and just let it kind of run off. Took a while to get there because at first, you don't know any better. You're like, what? Why are you being mean? I don't know you. But it is it's hard to connect with people, I guess, in that way. And I kind of wonder if they didn't think I was a weirdo because it was just like, it's just not I don't. It doesn't do anything for me. I guess it's a weird. I don't. It's a weird kind of thing to try to unpack and think. Yeah, I don't. Lyrics for stuff really don't. I'm trying to think of a song that like does that for me or anything, and I really can't. And it's odd because the more instrumental stuff, like just even like orchestrations of stuff, will hit me a bit better. And maybe that's because I'm transposing those notes and kind of my own feelings into like, oh, well, this feels sort of sad. Like I haven't made any tunes too horribly recently, but there was like a twofer that I did sort of back to back, not quite, but around the same time. One of them's Broken Chord, which I still really like. The other one, Only Where the Heart Allows. Like, I think that would helps. I can explain myself a little bit better with just the music, and it's kind of, I guess, what is it, synthesia or something, where people are like, oh, it tastes like the color purple or something like that. I kind of get that with music, with just with sounds and feelings. Oh, this very, I don't want to say empathetic kind of way, but it's like like that song, the Only Where the Heart Allows one. There's kind of like a combination of feeling like wistful, especially right at the beginning. Well, there's only two instruments. One's, I think, a vibraphone in the Sega Genesis form, vibraphone, and then a trumpet. And the trumpet part is kind of got this wistful inertia. Like, well, not inertia. It starts off wistful, and then it sort of gets a little bit more active, and then it eventually, towards the end, before it goes to loop, it's very playful and just sort of like having fun with it and sort of thing. And that was my intention, is that, because it was kind of like an overworld theme, or like an adventuring or travel theme sort of thing. Hence, only where the heart allows. Where the heart goes, the body will follow. Sappy and corny as that may sound. And I think this is also why I started diving into doing the Rambling Weeklies and stuff. I've talked with Slade about this. He had a better idea of it than me, because I'm too dumb to conceptualize this, but I was like, what would you categorize Rambling Weeklies? And it eventually fell to, I think, culture and philosophies was the thing. So it gets into the philosophical a bit. It's kind of a vlogish sort of thing. Like for me, this is almost like a vlog. It's almost like a virtual diary, in a way. It's not like I have some dark-seated evil thoughts to be like, yeah, but more of like I don't know. I feel like it is very hard to have these kind of conversations with people. Because they don't want to have these kind of conversations because it's just not interesting, or it's like, this is too much thinking. I don't want to do that. And I know it's not everybody. Like I said, I think I mentioned it in the previous one about being more open and having guests and stuff. So like next week, gonna have B Clark. And Slade's coming back, and I know David will probably jump in at a certain point on some of these and get other people and stuff. But I guess it's my thing is that with these, it started off as I can't have these conversations a lot of the times, and for a very long time I wouldn't write them down, and so it would be a thought that I would have, and then it would just kind of disappear, and then maybe it comes back. And then, or something happens that it'll trigger it to come back and be like, oh yes, that idea. Yeah, I guess it's my why I did started up the Rambling Weeklies and stuff was because like these are thoughts that I would have, not always, but thoughts that I would have that they would go, and then why do you keep on focus? Stop. The camera's getting goofy. It feels like it gets goofy. Ooh, focus. But yeah, no, it's I did it because I just wanted to get kind of ideas and thoughts off my chest. Also, why it was Rambling Weekly is because a lot of times, especially those early ones, it would just be, I don't really have an idea, or I have a bunch of ideas that I've finally written down. I don't know which one to want to go with. Oh, I'm going to go with this one. So I wouldn't really do much in what we would call research or general thinking. It would just kind of come off the top of my head. But that's kind of how I am with that sort of thing. I just, I don't know. I like I said, I have a very, I think I picked up the bad habit of, in a way, procrastination. My dad can be really bad about that. I think my mother can too. So I think there's the elements, seeds from the parents that have took root in the child to be like, hey, it's okay to procrastinate. And it's really not. No, don't procrastinate. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's like this is where the my idea was about initially with the whole like, I guess with the decaying thoughts is like the lyrics for songs or quotes or what have you, that those specific details are very fleeting for me. And I have to like actually take effort to commit them to memory, but they get stored into a special box that after it is used, it just gets lit on fire and then kind of gets thrown into the incinerator, and it's gone. And I have to restuff that envelope with important documents for a moment, only to do it again and again and again and again. Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other good examples. I mentioned the movie thing, quotes. Like I said, I will write them down a lot of times to be like, oh yeah, and sometimes some of them will stick, and I think it's just through excessive. And I think this is also another thing. I don't do this with music. I know a lot of people will, especially like out in the Midwest and stuff. It seemed to be more of a habit. I don't. When it comes to like a vocal song, I used to do this with instrumental stuff, especially when I was writing. I don't do this now, but a lot of people will loop a song over and over and over again. The only time I do that now is when I'm listening to something I've made, and then I've convinced myself that it is okay to put out. Well, probably not, but I still do it anyways. But a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I really like this song," and they'll like listen to it over and over again. I can't do that. It just does not. Like I might listen to it like on loop, maybe once a day. Like I really like that "You Know My Name" Chris Cornell song, theme for Casino Royale. I I haven't listened to that in probably like 4 weeks. I'm just like, oh, okay. And I can't remember the lyrics for it at all, other than "You Know My Name." But um, but yeah, like I know some people will do that. I cannot. Yeah, I can't do that. I can't. I'm trying to think if there's anything. It's because it's the same thing with um, games. Like, I have a very hard time playing games over like replaying them. Part of it's the JRPG nature, right? And it's like, oh, do I really want to divest? Do I really want to invest another 40 to 60 hours playing this game? No, probably not. Unless it's been eons. I know. I think I did that with Xenogears. I played it and then I didn't play it again for another six years or so, and I haven't played it in probably 10. It's probably been about 10 years or so. So I could probably play it again, thinking, okay. But I can kind of do that with like platformers and stuff. It'd be a little bit better, but even then, it gets a little old hat kind of quick. Mega Man's one of the few I can get away with doing that over again. I don't know why. It might be because it reminds me of childhood, because it's one of the few games that I would play a ton of that I always really, really enjoyed. Um, or at least game series. The Yeah, trying to think of anything else. Anything? Yeah. No, that's really really I think that's part of it as well. That probably ties into why I can't remember these things. Uh, I don't have these things on loop, and even in reading the lyrics, I'm trying to think of what lyrics I've read recently. You Know My Name. I know I did that because I there's stuff in there that even if I've heard it a bunch of times, I still can't decipher what he's saying or singing. But it's like, okay, I read it, and then it's out the door to be forgotten until I go into it again. So, yeah, I don't know. It makes it really hard to connect to people in that way, because then it's like, oh well, yeah. I mean, I know of it, or I like this sort of thing, but it's not. It boils back to, I'd rather just do stuff. Certainly, chit chat and stuff, but it's just like I can't. There's not like I guess when like a value of it, like it's just kind of I don't know. Like even like Deadwood, I'm trying to think like Deadwood TV show. I can't watch like Conan the Barbarian is one of the few movies I can watch over and over again. Conan the Barbarian, Escape from New York, Liar Liar. I love that movie. The movie's great. Uh, um, Cowboy Bebop would be probably another one, but that Cowboy Bebop has a weird, like that's one of those that I have a tradition that whenever I move, like I christen the new place by watching Cowboy Bebop. It's kind of a weird weird thing that I do. I don't know why, but it is something that I do. Yeah, that's really about all I got. I don't know. Is there anybody else that's like that? Maybe there are other people like that. I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm one of the few. I know there are people that I know who aren't like super involved into music, or maybe they have a couple things that they are, but like most stuff they're just like, it's music. Um, I'm not. I am not one of those no music, no life people. I'm very much in the idea that rhythm is all throughout life. There is a rhythm. There's a beat to it, but I march to a very syncopated one to a lot of other people. So we're gonna take a break and then get into the quote and yeah, wrap it up and go from there. So stick around. Well, welcome back. And that tune there is Silo theme. Yeah, that's some pulse pounding good tune there. That's a fun stage. Where the train is that very straightforward. And Silo is also it's straightforward, but it's vertical with a couple little tiny branches where it's like, oh, it dead ends, but there's some armor if you're on easier settings. But it's a very action packed. It really helps that game. I think that's yeah. I don't know. GoldenEye will always have a special place in my heart, even if nobody talks about it. Especially now that there's a way to play it, and people are just like, whatever. Switch controls are poor. Oh wait, there's a 64 controller sort of available sometimes for exorbitant amounts of money. Sure, whatever. I like the tune. Great rockin' tune. Fantastic tune. Probably one of my favorites of the game. It's that one. Cradle theme is really really great, and then the end credits. And yeah, Brandon Weeb does like a phenomenal job with all of this stuff. Good stuff. Spoiler alert: the ending credits is the end. It's the last one on this one. I mean, I think I did it before in a different episode. Heck, I probably chose the same song for all I know. I don't care. It's my party, and I'll do what I want. Oh, actually, I could show this let me show this real quick. Alright, so just so that you're aware, this is what has been edited, and outside of one page, this is what still needs to be edited. So that's edited. Nope, edited. Still needs to be edited. So yeah. Coming along. Riding my automobile. So anyways, the quote So I'm gonna throw out a whole bunch of quotes because I want to. One, I I heard it somewhere and I don't remember from what, and it's just a phrase, a little bit of a line. It's action is the cure for fear. Uh, yeah. Action is the cure for fear. Six words. That can stick in my head. It's a small enough phrase. That's it's those little bite-sized morsels that my brain is like one of the like is like a block of Swiss cheese. So only little tiny pieces can go go through the holes there and actually stick. That's the but yeah, I am very much a supporter of the idea that it is all about the action, what you do or not do. I mean, the choice to not do something is a form of action. Yeah, so that is that's kind of where a lot of these are. Actually, this is a stream of Herodotus quotes. I can't find the one in particular that I wanted, but yeah, we're gonna go with a few of these. So now Herodotus gets labeled as the grandfather of history, or with the idea of, because he wrote the histories, and what he would do is go around to different areas and ask people, and he'd be like, this may or may not be true, but this is what I heard, this is what they told me, this is what I'm telling to you. So it's almost like a because he would go around, this is talk about, like, ask about events that weren't current but had happened in the past and whatnot. And then a generation kind of semi-step later there, Thucydides would be a little bit more judicious about things and do the Peloponnesian War and stuff. But Herodotus was kind of all over the place. So I got a few of these that kind of tie into a similar idea of it. And this first one here is: it is better by noble boldness to run the risk of being subject to half of the evils we anticipate than to remain in cowardly listlessness for fear of what might happen. So he is, to me, I'm in that mindset as well, that rather to, in a way, fortuna favors the bold kind of thing. Fortune favors the bold, to do the act, and to whatever the act is, to suffer that, than to just kind of be a listless spirit. That's to me, but maybe that's being judgmental of other people who are fine being that, or not necessarily listless, but being in that environment, whether it's a comfortable environment or what have you. I can't, like, that's it does not work for me, because because I've been in that kind of listlessness, and then when I get into that, it eventually gets to a point where I'm like, I need to do something, needing to go. So yeah, yeah. Where was the other one? I had another one. I had another one, but I've lost it because I am well, phooey. No, come on. Here it is. Another one. Some men give up their designs when they have almost reached the goal, while others, on the contrary, obtain a victory by exerting, at the last moment, more vigorous efforts than ever before. Yeah, I guess is, yeah. Matt, Arbel, who was on the AI episode, we've talked about this before. He's mentioned this with other projects that he's worked on. I get this, just from projects I've worked on and stuff, is that, for a project, and I think, B Clerk's, I think we've talked about this before to some degree. Maybe not. I don't know. There's that, you go through a project, and it might be a little hard because you're getting into the habits of certain things, and then you kind of hit a nice
rhythm and you're going through it, but then you need to find a way to end the song, and then it's like, oh, and it's like in that last 5% that 90% of the work's done. You're like, ugh, same sort of thing. And I think, unfortunately, with procrastinators have that rhythm, but they do it in a way that it doesn't allow for great growth a lot of times, because you don't have the habit of doing certain things. So projects that require that are not sustainable. So it's like, because yeah, if you could just if you could just do the boom and bust procrastination on a more regular basis, say not for the extent of a project, but say a project is a month long, and instead of just treating it as the month, breaking it down into like intervals of each week, that boom and bust might work better than like an extended period of time sort of thing. And if you break it out into daily or something, that may even be better. I think it's the same thing. Same thing in the economical sense. We have these boom and busts. We're procrastinators. We're like, things are fine, totally fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, they're bad. They're rare. It'll fix itself. Oh no, it's not gonna fix itself. Oh, okay, all right, we're in trouble. And the bust, and then eventually boom again, and then a bust. Which is a maddening thing. That's just maddening. So, and then the last one I want to bring out here is one that I totally get. If a man insists on always being serious and never allowed himself a bit of fun and relaxation, he would go mad or become unstable without knowing it. Yeah, I think so. I think you go loop-de-loop if you're always so serious. But I think the problem ends up being is that that's a very subjective thing, right? What is seriousness? That could be the whole rambling weekly itself. I'll make a note of that. Seriousness. Look at this. This is how it goes. But like that's something that it's a subjective thing, but because I get this all the time for myself from like my mother. I think I mentioned it before. She always thinks that I'm way too serious on getting work done, and it's like, no, I have my fun. It's just I don't involve other people. If that sounds weird to put it that way, but there's a balance that I must adhere to, because I can have fun every day. I could just kind of, but then if I do that, I am neglecting everything else, and I don't get my podcast done. I don't get my editing done. And those are things that it falls on me to do. So yeah, but you gotta have fun with it. Sure. I have fun with doing the podcast thing, and I know that doesn't really to some that might not seem like a fun thing, but I have fun doing these. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. It's that simple. I think people who followed the channel well enough know if I don't want to do something, I'm not doing it. Outside of maybe playing a game. Well, no, even then, I've stopped games, like dead stop at the final boss and gone, I'm done. I'm not in the. This is like I still haven't played Everhood since. Like that ending is just that last thing. I'm just like wherever I was at. I was like, no, this is not. I'm not having any fun. No, I've not gone back to it since. I'm actually gonna look real quick. When was the last time I played that game? Which would have been when I streamed it. May 28th, 2022. So it's been almost a year. Interesting game to an extent, but like great music. But no. I vaguely feel that way about Ninja Gaiden Sigma, but I know I can just spend 20 minutes running back to a healing place and healing and getting heals, and then going and fighting the final boss. That I'll tolerate because I'm right there. No, that doesn't make sense, because I'll tolerate it because I know there's ways I can get around it, but that other thing, I'm just like, I can't spend a long amount of time getting to a point and then failing. It's just, no, not doing it. Can't do it. No. Anyways, that's it for me. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a good weekend, weekday, week, whatever. Yeah. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching if you're watching. I'll make some weird faces for you. Yay. I don't know. Yeah, hopefully it'll go well for you, and you enjoy it and stuff. I don't know, I know I've got something I've got to do work-wise late today, so that's not exciting, but meh. And then tomorrow should be good. Should be nice and comfy. That's it. All that sort of fun jazz. Like I said at the beginning of the segment, the ending theme is, or the outro ending theme. The outro is the ending credits. Because, yeah. I don't know if even if I said, I think I said it was GoldenEye. I mean, obviously, by this point. I hope so. Otherwise, I'm going to feel kind of silly. You know what it is. You better. Anyways, it's that, and it's a rockin' tune. Great stuff. So, thanks once again, and take it easy. See you later. Bye.